I walked out of Obsession genuinely unsure if I even liked it, and honestly, I think that's why it works. This is not a horror movie that wants to entertain you in the traditional sense. It wants to make you feel uncomfortable. It wants to get under your skin. It isn't just going to use gore. It isn't just going to use jump scares. It's going to make you think, analyze, and it's going to linger with you a long time after those credits roll. And after watching it a second time, I honestly think that Obsession might be one of the smartest horror films that we've had in years. Because underneath all of that horror, underneath all of that tension, and underneath all of those awkward silences, is a film that's really about emotional dependency. Obsession, validation, loneliness, possession, all disguised as love. And I genuinely think this is one of the worst films that you could watch as a couple. Because the second that those credits roll, it's going to make you analyze and think about your own relationship. That's terrifying. Obsession is a masterpiece. If you're brand new here, my name's Celebro, you can call me Sam, and this is my first ever film appreciation video. I'd love to know what you think in the comments. The first time that I watched Obsession, I was genuinely spending the runtime trying to figure out what kind of film this was. Is it a romance? Was it some sort of dark satire? A psychological horror? A dark comedy? Sometimes it feels weirdly sweet, and then other times it feels deeply uncomfortable. And the film constantly shifts between these emotions. It's so natural that you almost feel a sense of disorientation when you're watching it. And that's so intentional. Obsession wants to throw you off, and it wants to make you emotionally unbalanced. And it wants you to constantly question whether you're seeing genuine love, genuine affection, or manipulation. And that's what makes the character of Bear so interesting in this as well. Because this film never presents him as a traditional horror villain. He doesn't walk into the room with dramatic music and glowing red eyes. He feels human, awkward, lonely, desperate to be wanted. And that's what makes him terrifying. Because there are moments that you actually understand him, not excuse him, but you understand him. And horror becomes so much more effective when your audience can recognize the monster behaviors in one of your characters. I felt sorry for him at some point during this film. I shouldn't have. I think the reason that Obsession affected me so much is because none of the emotions present in this film feel fictional. Every insecurity in this film feels real. The need for reassurance, the fear of abandonment, the desperation to be chosen by someone. We've all seen versions of these emotions throughout our lives, which is why this movie becomes so uncomfortable so quickly. Because this isn't really just a film about monsters. This is what happens when love becomes ownership, when affection becomes dependency, and when validation becomes a need and not a want. And the scariest part for me, the film showcases how easily it is to slip into those emotions. And I think that couples are going to have a wildly uncomfortable time reacting to this film, because it's going to quietly force you to look at other people differently. These are all themes that we felt as humans before. Maybe not to this degree. Clinginess, jealousy, emotional reassurance. This film almost weaponizes intimacy. There were moments where characters were saying technically loving things, but the atmosphere felt suffocating and horrifying. And that's incredibly difficult to pull off as a filmmaker, but something that Curry Baker did with excellence. But the reason that I'm even making this video at all is because the second watch changed everything for me. The first time I was reacting to the surface level horror, the shocks. The second time I think I recognized a little bit clearer what the movie was saying, and it took me 2 times. It might have just took you the first time. Every interaction felt different. Every conversation felt loaded with insecurity and a form of control. And it helped me realize that the horror in Obsession, it starts long before those supernatural elements do. And that's genius, because obsession resides in every human. It's up to us to make sure that it doesn't take over. And the film having a supernatural side which is left almost open-ended, on a second watch I appreciated it more because it didn't give all of the answers. The film, I think, just simply asks, what happens when unhealthy emotions stop being hidden? And even those moments that originally felt awkward and felt cringe started feeling a lot more intentional, because obsession is cringe. Desperation is awkward, neediness is awkward. The film wants you to be trapped in those emotions, and this is uncomfortable cinema at its finest. I genuinely believe that Obsession is one of the most dangerous date film nights in years, and I mean that as a compliment, because this movie doesn't just scare you. This film is going to make you analyze your own life, the person sat next to you. It makes you think about emotional dependency, reassurance, and about possessiveness, and whether the love can become control without people realizing it. And once those ideas enter your head, it's really quite hard to switch them off. I've been jealous before. I've been needy before. but I haven't cooked someone's cat and tried to feed it to them. I think this film is going to divide audiences. Some people will watch it and just think it's too awkward and uncomfortable. Others are going to realise that that's the point, and that the film is built around that discomfort. It wants you squirming, it wants you to have those conversations, and it wants you to feel like the subject matter is invasive and it's uncomfortable. And honestly, I haven't seen many modern horror films that made me feel this way. And that's why I think Obsession is a masterpiece. Not because it's the scariest horror movie ever made, and I don't think because it reinvented cinema, but because it showcases and understands the human vulnerability so well. I genuinely can't stop thinking about this film, which to me is a sign of a great horror and a great film. The best horror films don't end when those credits roll, they follow you home. And I'm telling you right now that Obsession is probably going to follow you home. Let me know what you thought of Obsession. Thank you if you got this far. I really appreciate you watching. And stay tuned to the channel if you like this kind of film appreciation. I'd love to see you back.